This is Mitchell Elf Birdsongs, and this is Center 5, Calling All Birds. And the goal of this center is for students to be able to compare the vocal anatomy of songbirds to that of humans, and to have them examine how the anatomy helps, how their specific anatomy helps birdsongs generate sounds. So there are some great diagrams that illustrate bird anatomy. And you've got the trachea, and they've got this thing called the syrinx, and then their lungs and some air sacs, and then human anatomy. And we've got our teeth and our nasal passage and the oral cavity with our tongue and everything in it, and our larynx right there, and then our lungs. But you'll notice that the larynx is above the lungs, whereas the syrinx is much lower. And so the fact that it's lower helps birds produce much more powerful sounds. And in fact, an even more interesting part is the fact that these two bronchi and these two membranes help birds be able to produce two songs or two melodies at the same time. So you'll want to kind of discuss that with the kids and point that out. It says that right here, a songbird's syrinx or sound-producing organ is located at the base of the windpipe, directly above the two main tubes leading to the lungs, versus ours is located at more like at the top of the windpipe. The birds is more right down there. So they get all that much more power coming out of the lungs, like I already just said. Another great illustration of that is this, and it talks about the bird syrinx. So you've got the example, there's the trachea, and then the muscles on either side, and the tympanic membrane, and that's what vibrates to make the sound. And so, and it's right above the two bronchial tubes. And on this handout, there's also some great facts. While humans only use about 2% of the air they inhale to produce sound, birds have the ability to use it all. And birds may vocalize during both inhalation and exhalation of air into the lungs, versus we can't talk when we're inhaling. So those are some important things to go over with them. There's other information in your outline. If you want to go even farther, you could have kids try to remember and identify. There are those diagrams with blinks, and you could try to get them to identify what is what. That's up to you. Let's see. There's also a book, and that has some information in it, some technical information, songbirds. And in this book, let's see if I can flip to those pages really quick. There's some discussion about sound waves, and that's actually a sound picture of a call of a bird called a chaffinch. And there's another that's some more explanation of that same diagram that I showed you before. And then this rather interesting image of sound waves that compares a wild bird and then one that was raised in isolation. And you can see that the one that was raised in isolation didn't learn the songs because it wasn't exposed to them. So that's a lot like how humans have to be around speech to learn it and be exposed to it. So you can use that as you see fit. So after you've gone over the technical parts of it, you're going to do some examples. All right, so to demonstrate how sound to the kids, how sound is produced, you can compare sound passing through the syrinx by how it passes through the neck of a balloon. Handy balloon pump. If you get low on balloons, someone needs to email us. But I'm sure you guys have all done this, where you, depending on the tension, you can change what kind of sound it makes. And it's that vibrating together that imitates how the syrinx works. You can also, there's rubber bands in here. Have students take a rubber band, and they might want to work in pairs for this. And if one of them kind of stretches it apart and the other person can, you can see how they vibrate and they work together. And that's also an example of how vocal cords work. Yeah, thank you. Let me see what else. So yeah, so the more you stretch the rubber band, the higher the sound. And that's what happens when air is passing, when different amounts of air are passing over the vocal cords. All right, so the optional activity that goes with this is in this book, Birdsongs. And it's super important to keep this book indoors. This is not an outdoor activity. The songs that are on here are actual, real bird calls. If there are birds nesting nearby, they can get confused by it. And it just messes them up to hear some other bird and they don't know where it's coming from and they're expecting something. And so there's all kinds of research that says not to do it. So it says that you can, it says to use this book indoors in the outline as well. So you can play different songs. Carrie has bookmarked all the different birds that we talk about in this unit. And here's, like, I've opened it up to the red-winged blackbird, and so then I turn it to number 69. And you can hear what that sound is like. And that's exactly what you would hear for red-winged blackbird. And in fact, you can find these birds right over at the marshy area near New Loveland Mine Park that's on your way down the trail. And by the golf course, yes. So, what else? There's also information about getting onto the website of Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Important in your outline, it says www.allaboutbirds.org/guide.search. It should be /search. And what else? And I think that's pretty much it. You're just really supposed to be going over and emphasizing how unique the anatomy of a bird is, that helps it with its ability to communicate. If you have any questions, you can email us at mitchellelf@gmail.com. And have fun.